couple big plays. They're looking for some lucky bounces. They're looking for some turnovers, for some stops, for some of those 4th and longs where Spokane's going to try and kick a long field goal. Remember, the indoor field is only 50 yards. So pretty much every drive is in scoring range. Okay? I mean, if you move it 10 yards, you're almost at midfield. You're kicking field goals from inside your 10 a lot of times, okay? Colorado's going to have to capitalize on that. Early in the season, they were really good at blocking kicks. Oh, excuse me. Not so much as the season went by. They're going to need some of those types of plays tonight, and I think you're going to see them. I really do. Like I said, we're at a point in the season right now where this team is looking for another breakout performance. We had that breakout performance against Wichita Falls with the 77-73 win. We need another big output like that this week. Not necessarily because we have postseason aspirations or championship aspirations at this point at 2-9, but as a pride factor, as a man factor, okay? So let's see the guys come out and do big things tonight. We got another home game on June 3rd, final home game on June 16th. A couple games between here and there, road games, however. All right, so that's kind of how we didn't do any interviews today. Since I haven't been here for a few weeks due to weather, and prior to that, one of the home games I missed was I had migraine issues and couldn't make it up from Denver to do the events. So I didn't really get into the interviews today. I kind of just watched the guys, watched them warm up, checked in with them, told them good luck, hi, how you doing, ain't seen you in a minute. But we'll definitely have interviews on the 3rd. We'll definitely have interviews on the 16th. And like I said, we're definitely going to try and get Head Coach Marvin Jones on the show with us before all is said and done. So, other stories in sports. I know we're here at the Crush. We're here at the Budweiser Event Center in Loveland. The Crush is taking on the Empire tonight. But there's other things happening in sports, right? Big thing happening in sports right now. We got the NBA playoffs going on. Eastern Conference Finals finally kicked off. The Western Conference Finals have kicked off. And I know everybody's talking about what's going on with these teams, right? What's going on with these teams? I'm going to put the playoffs on hold for a minute, actually. Let's talk about some teams not in the playoffs first. NBA draft lottery last night. For weeks we've been hearing that the Celtics are going to get the first pick. For weeks we've been hearing the Lakers are going to get one of these top 3 picks. We're sitting there watching the announcement last night, and what do we see happen? Boston gets the top pick. Magic Johnson's laughing. He gets the second pick. What I really hope happens is that Lonzo Ball doesn't go to LA. I really don't. I agree with, I heard, who was it talking today? Earl Boykins. And Earl Boykins said that he thinks the Celtics should draft him and basically hold him ransom to get pieces that they want on their team. And I started thinking about that. Now, that's actually kind of genius because nobody really has a problem with the kid, right? The kid's fine. It's the father that everybody has a problem with. The kid's got some skills. I think he's a little overrated myself. I don't know how his skills and his slow pace and his demeanor will transfer to the NBA in the pro game. But we'll definitely see how that goes. And to Earl Boykins' point, having the Celtics, who have this top pick, who are in the Eastern Conference Finals, who have pieces in place, and are just missing players here and there. You draft a guy like that, you kind of hold him for trade bait, and then you work it out that way. I can see that. I can also see the NBA kind of rigging what was going on. For weeks, like I said, we've heard that these two teams were going to be the top picks. They had the highest chance, but this is a lottery. They had lottery balls. For it to work in their favor that perfect when for weeks people have been talking about it, something else was going on there, in my opinion. I have no proof. I have no evidence. I haven't heard anything from a league office or team that would make me believe that. Just a feeling as a sports fan as I watched it play out. As many of you, I'm sure, thought as you watched it play out. We've heard for weeks that the Nuggets were going to be 13. What did they end up? 13. So coincidentally, maybe a lot of people just picked it right. We'll have to see how that all turns out. We might have learned why James Harden had such a horrible game there at the end of the series with San Antonio. Turns out he's got a lawsuit coming against him from Moses Malone for supposedly orchestrating an assault on Moses Malone for stolen property or talking smack or whatever it was. I don't remember now after reading the article, but apparently that very well could have been on James Harden's mind when he played so horribly the other night, and not just that he is this history of being bad in clutch moments. I don't really think that's what it is. He doesn't really have anybody else on his team, and if you focus your defense around what's going on with one player, you can take that player out of the game. It's a pretty easy thing to do, all said and done. And especially if they have some kind of legal matters on their hand and they're not focused and dialed in. So the Crush game has kicked off. If you guys aren't here, again, check it out on the YouTube channel. All the games are live on the YouTube channel. IFL YouTube channel. Let's talk about somebody that's in the playoffs now. Plays for Golden State, catching some slack. Zaza, right? Can't say his last name. I'm not even going to try to say the man's last name. He stepped out. Kawhi Leonard came down on his foot, twisted his ankle for the second time in the third quarter in Game 1, and now he sat out Game 2 and could be out Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. Now, I get everybody wants to call him dirty. What I find interesting is that a short time ago, 10, 15 years ago, that was common practice. It wasn't against the rules. You saw it all the time. You saw guys like Reggie Miller doing it. You saw guys doing it to Reggie Miller. You saw just about everybody from the New York Knicks throughout the 90s stepping out on shots. They used to just call it closing out on the player so you could box him out so he can't go and get a long rebound, right? In fact, Bruce Bowen made himself Defensive Player of the Year many times, or was close to being Defensive Player of the Year many times, because of his ability to step out on guys. They knew he would step out, so instead of coming straight down, they would alter their shots when he was playing defense on them. Bruce Bowen comes out this week and calls Zaza dirty. So what does that make you, Bruce? What does that make you? Popovich comes out this week. He's talking about it. He doesn't like to play. Popovich singing a very different tune when it happens to his players as opposed to when his players are doing it. And again, I'm sorry, I think these rules in a lot of professional sports these days have made guys soft. And in this instance, I'm sorry, I think it's making guys soft. I know Kawhi's a key guy. I know the Spurs now are down two of their most talented players. But that happens. That's part of the game. You can't do nothing about that. Put on your big boy pants, pull them up, go out there, compete, do what you got to do, right? So, I don't know. I'm not going to call him dirty. I'm going to call that a basketball play. It's part of the game to me. I know now everybody wants to focus in on what they're calling player safety. It's not about player safety, everybody. It's really not. It's about these billionaires' pockets. It's about the team owners' pockets. They don't want to be out there paying a guy $10, $15, $20 million a season, depending on the sport, and then not have anybody out on the field doing what they got to do, or out on the court doing what they got to do. They don't want injured investments that they're paying that much money. So they're trying to work rules so that their investment can get more money in their pocket. It's not about player safety. Not in the NFL, not in the NBA, not the rules they're doing in Major League Baseball. Really not in the NHL for that matter. It's about money. Don't get it twisted. Don't be fooled. It's about money. The players are one of the last things that the owners truly worry about or care about. So Zaza dirty? I don't know. Go read the CBS report, read the Bleacher Report on it, and see what you think. Those are two of the better ones that I read as I followed the story throughout the week. And this story caught me. Bleacher Report ran a story about Mike Brown, and it might have been picked up in other places as well. But Mike Brown almost was arrested before Game 2. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, one, who's Mike Brown? And two, why did he almost get arrested before the game? Well, Mike Brown is filling in for Steve Kerr. He's coaching on the bench right now for Golden State. He's driving to Game 2 at the Oracle Arena. He's the head coach of the home team. He's got his son with him. He's got the voice of the team in the car with him. And his son's a big Popovich fan. Mike Brown and Popovich have coached together, so his son got to meet him. And so he's telling his son, right, he's like, hey, you know, the Spurs are behind us. Popovich is right there. And as they're getting ready to make the last turn into the stadium where they go into the gate, always go in the gate, Highway Patrol there in California kind of cuts them off and says, hey, stop. You can't go in here. We're doing something. Because they're, you know, giving him police escort, the Spurs. And they pay no mind to who he is. They pay no mind to the fact that he's the coach of the home team or the head coach of the place. They get extra mad at him and basically almost pull him out of the car and arrest him. Now, I don't like being political on this show. I've said that before, but I will when I need to be. I have a feeling if Mike Brown was a white coach, there wouldn't have been an issue. They would have said, okay, sir, go ahead. You go ahead and go in. We'll bring you these guys in behind you. We understand you're here to do the same thing they are. No problem. Our bad. Go ahead and do what you got to do, coach. But in this case, I have a feeling that because of skin color, because of a lot of people don't know Mike Brown right off the bat, they basically profiled him. They saw a car full of people. They needed to go somewhere. They wanted it their way. And instead of checking, asking, or being cooperative in any way, they almost arrested the head coach of the home team for Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. All of that being said, let's jump into the series. We'll jump into the Western Conference first, then we'll hit on the Eastern Conference because the Western Conference Finals is further along. They do have Game 3 on Saturday on ESPN, and currently Golden State is up on the Spurs, the injured Spurs team, 2-0. Neither Golden State or Cleveland has lost so far in these 2017 playoffs. I would love it if both of them got to the finals without losing. That'd be a great story. It'd be something to talk about. We'd be able to compare it to other great playoff runs throughout history. And I think it's a good story. I don't think the playoffs are being hurt at all because of the blowouts, because of the domination, because of better teams winning games. I think what that does is it inspires competition. What these teams do now is they sit back and they start working on their skills. If they're not just about that money, if they're out there trying to be the best, they're going to go out there and try and beat the best. And they're going to do that by preparing in the offseason. Front offices are going to try and make a few moves to make their teams better. The draft picks are going to come there. So I have no problems with teams being dominant. I have no problems with the Patriots of what they've done. The only team that I really haven't liked is the Yankees. I don't like how the Yankees have gone about it because it seems like they pay for it. Right? It seems like they pay for it. Now this year, it seems like they're blowing it up. They got a nice farm system. They got a lot of young guys that are pulling weight this year. Maybe I changed my tune on the Yankees this season. We'll have to see. I'm really not a fan of the Steinbrenners, and that's the biggest reason that I really don't pull for the Yankees is that fan. But back to basketball. Golden State, they're going to win this series. They're going to knock San Antonio out of the playoffs. That's just pure and simple. San Antonio missing Parker. Kawhi very likely out for Game 3. We'll have to see. I'm guessing he plays if he can go at all. Golden State doesn't want to go down 3-0 and try and come. San Antonio doesn't want to go down 3-0 and try and come back on this Golden State team. I don't think they have the firepower, especially not without their two best offensive weapons out on the floor. Now, Popovich, like I've said on this show, and I've said many times and will continue to say, he is the best coach in the NBA, quite possibly the best coach in the NBA history. He's going to have something set up for them on Saturday night. Believe that. The Spurs will not come out flat. They're not going to get blown out again. It will be a much closer game than the first two have been so far in this series. Steph Curry finally found his shot again. Maybe Maybe he finally turned the switch, flipped the switch. I don't know what it was, but his shot is back. He's making things happen on the offensive end. And when he's making things happen on the offensive end, you see his defensive game step up. Kevin Durant has been pretty much unstoppable. Klay Thompson has been efficient. Draymond